Hey, you know what time it is? It's time to do more stuff to the Yamaha. What are we going to do today? How about an LED headlight upgrade, which I can't believe it's taken me this long to do, but I think years past on other sleds, I usually, obviously before LEDs, I had HIDs, and hey, this could be fun. Oh, never mind, can't do that. Maybe I want to say hi to the camera, if you could even see me, but I tried, I think an HID kit with my last SXR. It wasn't the greatest. I don't know, just something. Sometimes these things weren't meant to run in the snowmobiles and bikes at the time. But we're at a day and age where I have HIDs in one vehicle and LEDs in another, and I love them both. But LED for headlights are finally at a point where they are, I believe, useful and overtaking the HIDs and probably the top things on the market. But you do have to be careful which ones you buy, and you just never know what's going to last. This brand, we're rolling the dice on this. It's AUKEE is the name brand. $30 prime shipped off Amazon. Usually I spend a tad more money, especially if it was my car. I'm spending a little more money. All right, I was gone for about 10 minutes, so I forget where I left off at. Tell you, interruptions, but I remember saying something about I know LEDs have gotten to their point. On these, anyways, these claim 10,000 lumen per pair, and they're rated at 50 watt. You know what? If you do any research on LED headlights, take everything, all the numbers with a grain of salt. They could be just those numbers based on the fact that there's 12 chips, double-sided, and that all of them together are rated at that. I have no idea. These should be technically a high-low, and make sure when you're looking, you can actually buy H4s that are low only. So be careful if you're buying ones that are really cheap. They might be that version, which I've done on a car before, and they were so bright I didn't need highs anyways. But they've gotten to a point where high-lows aren't really that much more expensive anymore. So I doubt it, but it could be the fact that these high-lows, both high and low, stay on at the same time. I think that might make it a little too hot. I'm not really sure. I know I have high-lows staying on with my car, but those are four different separate bulbs. So we'll see once I turn it on. Where's the stock bulb? One thing that's nice about these is the base is adjustable, so you'll want to line up the three prongs and then you can twist this base so that these would be, zoom in a little bit, that these would look identical to this bulb. You don't want that light hitting the reflector in a different area. Between your car or sled and everything, I know they spend a fair amount of time and research when they develop headlights to make sure that when the bulb is put in, that it's reflecting and the light's hitting the reflector in the right spot. So that's usually pretty important if you can twist that so it matches your stock bulb. The one problem I found, and then obviously this is different with all different LED brands, you can get different cooling fans. Some fans are fatter than this. Some of them are a little maybe this fat but longer. Excuse me. Some of them use cooling fins so that it could then sneak through that hole. The ones I got here, which I'm not overly concerned, not like maybe a car about moisture and stuff, but what I discovered is, whoops, I suppose I can go back here, that obviously it would go like this, but the round part sneaks through that hole and then water seals it up. This, on the other hand, if you put the LED bulb, I know this is backwards, but you can see for measurement, I would have to trim that rubber boot just to make that fan fit over it. Now at the same time, I'm not making it totally water proof, getting into that housing, because that fan needs airflow. So for the time being, I am just going to leave the boot off. I installed one, left the stocker, and we're going to start this up so you can see the difference here shortly. The other thing then too, obviously, there's different, if it goes consider that the resistor box, whatever box they call that now. Some of them are like a box. This one's in like kind of a nice tube actually, so I kind of like this setup. Especially in this one, I used some double-sided Gorilla tape that's super strong, heated up a little bit so it'll stay. And you can mount that, instead of tucking it, it would have stayed back there, but it would have rattled around a little bit. I'll double-sided tape it there, so it should stay there, and even if it doesn't, I'm going to zip tie then the stock harness and this wire and group together so that everything stays a little neater. But let's make sure everything is out of the way and fire this baby up. Alright, fair warning, obviously if you watch my last video it gets a tad louder if you're in a space where you want it to be quiet, but hopefully I can get around in front to see the difference and do the high lows and see how they look. Oh, try again. Oh, for crying out loud. Let's choke. Well, this is embarrassing. Alright, so you can already see off the garage wall, there's a little bit of scatter up here. I'm not really sure why. But otherwise, it's a pretty crisp line from the stalker. Seems to be about the same. The front end view, camera's giving a little more blue hue than it actually is. But either way, I just love the way a clear LED light looks versus stock. These claim to be a 6000K, which I usually go a tad lower, but these look real nice. Now high beam, low beam. High beam, there's not that scatter, so I don't know where that's from. Maybe I'll tinker around and move it around a little bit. Try to get an image that's not so glaring. It looks like definitely a high-low difference. See if I can reach it from... Yeah, definitely a change. So not all of them are on at the same time, which I didn't think so, but it wasn't 100%. So might have to make a little bit of adjustment, but either way, that looks real nice. So there you have it. If you're wondering about the some pros and cons about installing LEDs in your RX1 or any sled for that matter, I say go for it. The price is right. If you're really concerned about it, you could put some bubble wrap around your stock bulbs and still carry them with you. If you had any doubt that the LEDs would fail, or you should probably always carry at least one bulb with you. Anyways, I remember going on some trips and someone's bulb was always go out, so we'd be stealing them from someone else's spare stash or whatever. So have spare belts, have a spare bulb, and have some snacks, because you never know when you want to pull over on the trail and have a little snack. So any questions, concerns, comments, please put them below, and if I failed to include anything, I'll try to respond, but otherwise we'll see you out on the trails. Happy snowmobiling.